I'm still going to give you your time frame. Yes, very much recall. Absolutely. I'm going to freeze the chat. Nothing is wrong. I just don't want anyone to put their answer prematurely and mess up someone's process. All right, you can go ahead and start looking at the question. Okay, go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. And also, if you are a little finicky about putting your answer for everyone to see, you can just direct it towards me if you don't want everyone to see your answer. But hopefully everyone feels safe in this space. We don't have a poll tonight, Cynthia. I'm sorry. The poll was acting up. So you're just gonna have to put your answer. Everyone's putting their answer in the poll. I mean, I'm at the chat. I'm gonna stop sharing. I don't know why it does that like little draw thing on there. Okay. So before we answer this, we need to know what is agoraphobia, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic disorder, or social phobia? What kind of disorders are those? Anxiety, perfect. So anxiety disorder equals benzodiazepine every time. MAO, SSRIs, that's depression. Amphetamine is ADHD. So you see how it's kind of like pretty clear, pretty cut and dry. As long as you knew those disorders were anxiety disorders, then and you knew what what medication to treat anxiety, then you were able to get that one correct. Okay, let's go to number 2. Okay, go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. Okay, we have someone who is overly sensitive to rejection. That was our main thing. Remember, we did say that A and D were very similar, but avoidant wants to be with people, but they just are scared of rejection. So that's why they don't want to go into relationships, because they're scared of the rejection. So rejection always is going to equal avoidant. Any questions about that one? The main thing was the rejection. The potential rejection is always going to be associated with avoidant. Okay. Let's go to number 3. Go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. The only disadvantage of not having a poll is I'm not sure how many people are getting it right, but this one looked pretty clear, I think. It looked like the majority was together on this one. So for MDD, yes, in terms of the criteria, but the test is not going to necessarily be counting the criteria necessarily, right? Because it's saying what diagnosis should the social worker consider. So I don't want you to focus so much on how many symptoms. I want you to focus on what is associated with those symptoms. Okay. So we have someone who's severely depressed. So they didn't actually give us any depressive symptoms. They just said they were severely depressed. Okay. Plus, they had no sleep for several days, spend large amounts of money, and talks rapidly. So if we put those two together, yeah, that was the manic behavior. So the no sleep, spends large amounts of money, talks rapidly, that's going to be mania. And then mixed with depression is going to be bipolar. The reason that it's not C, cyclothymic, because it doesn't say that there was cycles. Remember, cyclothymic is going to be cycles of it. And we only have so far some depression and some mania right here. So if we had cycles of it, depression, mania, then it would be cyclothymic. But it only talks about one instance of mania and then the client being depressed. Yes, duration, yes. So you see, this one didn't have anything about duration necessarily, except for the several days. So sometimes it won't indicate duration and sometimes it will. So if it doesn't indicate duration, you're just going to associate. Symptom recognition. What symptoms is this associated with? Okay. All right. Yes, this is one of mine. Let's see how you like it. Okay, go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. Well, this one is an original for me, so it might be me. That's confusing. Okay, so I saw a lot of A and C's. Okay, we have a B and we have I saw a D too. So remember that B and D are going to be focused on they're going to be more focused on psychotic symptoms. Natalie, go ahead, Natalie. Yes. So the one thing that separates A and C, okay, I want to say a couple things. First of all, I want you to be comprehensive in your assessment. Don't let anything throw you off. Don't hyper focus on just one thing. So if you hyper focus on the fact that she was, thinking, lying about her illness, then you might be like, okay, maybe she's psychotic because she has a delusion, or, she's telling people about this false belief. But it really isn't about the false belief, right? It's not about the delusion. It's about her making up an illness. Okay. So that's why B and D are out. So between A and C, it was just the reward. So you found out that there's no reward for her doing this. She's not getting off of work. She's not trying to get any money, right? Remember when we have people that go do GoFundMe's just to get money? They make up something to get money. Okay. So yes, she made up the depression. Yes. She's reporting depressive symptoms about a death that didn't actually happen. So I actually got this straight from the DSM-5. The DSM-5 gave an example of factitious disorder, and this was one of their examples. So maybe their example is confusing. I thought it would be a little bit easier to understand. Maybe they gave a hard example. But she is making up her illness. Remember, it's not just a physical illness. You can make up mental health illnesses as well. Yeah, so maybe that's why it was tricky, because mental health, we don't normally talk about mental health and factitious together. Yeah. So it's not for reward. She's not making it up in order to get money or time off from work. So it's factitious, but she's making up her depressive symptoms and her suicidal ideation. She's making those up because her husband actually didn't die. And she knows her husband didn't die. Yes. So the answer is A. Sorry. Exaggerating her symptoms based on a false event. It's not real. And remember, factitious, they know it's not real. Remember, delusional, they don't really know that. They really think that they, are in this belief. So that's what I want you to kind of remember too. So factitious, I'm making it up. I know my husband is just leaving me, but I'm making this up so that it's fake. It's fake. Okay, let's go to 5. Okay, go ahead and put your answer in. What's the difference between separation anxiety and reactive attachment? True. That is, yep, that is one. Neglects. Perfect. No, don't change it. Yes, neglect. One is neglect, one is attachment, right? I'm having anxiety because I actually am so bonded to you that I don't want to be separated from you. Versus, I've been neglected and I really don't want to fool with you because I've been neglected. So the answer is D as in dog, reactive attachment disorder. And thank you also for the person that talked about, I have to go back and look. The disinhibited, I forget the rest of it. Disorder. I'm really not that Luffy. I'm just pregnant. Okay, so I just forgot it. But that's the one that you've been neglected, and so you don't have any you have over attachment, attached to strangers. Thank you. Yes. For the gain is malingering. So malingering is not a disorder. Malingering just means you filthy. Because you faking stuff just to get a reward. Like you faking a pregnancy so you can get baby items. Oh, that would have been a good example. Trife life, yes. But it's not a disorder, you just trifling. Thank you. Disinhibited social engagement. Thank you. I meant to write that down. I'm going to put that in our notes when I send it out tomorrow. So that way you'll keep those two. I'm also going to send factitious versus malingering because we talked about that a lot. Yes, this disinhibited social engagement is a good one to know as well. Reactive. Oh, yes. Reactive. That's another one. Reactive versus separation anxiety. I'm just writing ones down that we kind of get confused so that way I can make sure it is clear and I'll give you like it in a snapshot. So reactive attachment, I've been neglected, and so therefore I don't want to attach to anybody else because I was neglected typically as a baby. Separation anxiety says I have an attachment. That's really the difference. One, I never had an attachment to anybody, so I don't want to now have an attachment to you. And the other one is I have a very good attachment and I don't want to leave them ever. Or I have anxiety when I'm not with them. So that's the difference between those two. Okay, let's do number 6. We're doing good on time too. Okay, go ahead and put your answers. Oh. Okay, for this one, are grossly out of proportion in intensity. That's the main thing. Grossly out of proportion in intensity. It's going to be DMDD. What y'all say? Let's see. Okay, so remember that ODD, what's ODD, y'all? They are similar. That's why it's my distractor. Because they are similar. They're similar because ODD also talks about irritability, so that's why it's confusing. But yes, so someone who is oppositional defiant disorder is going to be more argumentative, right? They're going to be argumentative. They're going to argue a lot. They're going to break rules. They're going to go against authority. But this one is more focused on the disproportionate outbursts and less on the breaking rules and things like that. I don't think these both of them don't have any aggression in them because remember, conduct is the one where we get really aggressive and violent. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. ODD, they know how to act at school, but they don't know how to act nowhere else. Right? Yes. Absolutely. And with this one, That's thank you for that too. Yes. 2 settings. So DMDD has to be in 2 settings. ODD does not, right? Because we said the child can act up, but then go to school and be perfect. You'd be like, Johnny? No, Johnny, he is an angel at school. And you'd be like, what? He is? He's just not an angel with you at home. Okay. Yes, they did. In the pandemic, they was like, no, not my kid. Oh, yes, my kid. My kid. Yes. That's it. Okay, let's do number 7. Okay, go ahead and put your answer. Okay, I think we got our first 100%. All right. We might have had it before, but I didn't notice. Separation anxiety. Perfect. You guys did so well because you could have fell for any of these other distracting answers because they all looked good, right? I mean, you might have thought, well, this child is just having issues with the divorce, right? She just wants to get back. But the others weren't diagnosis, that's true. But also we see that it's the separation. And the child has familiar people, but they still are having anxiety just being separated from their parents at all. Even being in their own bed. They don't even want to be in their own bed. Their fear of monsters under the bed, they just don't want to, they just want to be with them because they're having this anxiety. It is kind of triggered by the divorce. But it's not necessarily the other ones. So that was perfect. Okay, number 8. Okay, go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. Oh, y'all did really good with this one because we didn't even go over it. Good job, guys. That's good. I did see that people asked other questions that I may have missed in the session. So what I'm going to do is when I send everything out, I will include that because I did see the question about substance use, about intoxication, withdrawal. So I'll include that as well. And then we had the question about the Korostakov, can never say that. And hallucinations, and then it was another illness I can't say. So I will also include that as well. So I'll make sure I include those answers in the email tomorrow. Okay, what conditions should the social worker assess the client for? First, I do agree we have some issues we might want to rule out, other things, but we know that it is a cognitive thing, right? Memory, thought process, that's definitely going to be neurocognitive. Let me read the rationale. Difficulty in managing activities of daily living, memory decline, and impaired thought processes are closely linked with A. Slums are mocha. Please, please let us know what that means. The combined symptoms are not consistent with the other ones. So the other ones don't really give us enough information. Alcohol use disorder, it would be hard to assess for that if we don't ask about their alcohol use, I would say too. Yeah, didn't mention alcohol. Yes, deals with alcohol misuse. Yes. Okay, we're almost finished. We're at 9:29, but we're on the last two questions. So everyone hang in there. We're almost done. Okay, go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. What do y'all think? What diagnosis did you give the child? Okay. It's okay. Yeah. So if we're doing ADHD, then it's gonna be Strattera. I don't know if Strattera is on the test. I was just trying to incorporate all the medications. I think you guys talked about Strattera is a non-stimulant. Okay. Okay. Does that mean that it's not for ADHD, or what does that mean? Oh, it is. Okay. Because I just was picking things off the list. I did not really look at if they were a stimulant or non-stimulant. Okay. But that's a good thing that I'm going to include too. Stimulants and non-stimulants for ADHD. Non-stimulants. Okay. Adderall might be on the test. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Adderall, Ritalin. Those are kind of common. So I just wanted to put in one that's maybe not as common, so you can get used to that as well. But ADHD, Strattera, Ativan is anxiety, lithium is bipolar, and Paxil is depression. Oh yes, I did include this one. This was going to be hard because you might not know it. It's okay. Let's do this one. What y'all think? It's okay if you get this one wrong because I created it and because I wanted to show you that sometimes you're going to get questions like this that are what the heck, like prevalence questions about is it more in males than females and all of that stuff. They all seemed off. So when you get, I also wanted you to practice with not, because I did have a client that told me that she had questions that said less likely and not, and I thought that wasn't as common. So I just wanted to throw some in too. So actually the answer is B. The average age of onset for bipolar 1 is not 40. That's kind of a little older. The average age of onset, remember we said is like young adults. Yeah. Not. Yep, that was the key word. Yep. So B is wrong, but A, B, and C are all correct according to the DSM-5. That being a relative is a high risk factor. It is more common in higher income community. Yeah, higher income communities than lower income. I don't know why. That's what they say. Females with bipolar are more likely to have depressive along with it. So you get some tidbits about bipolar, and you also get practice with not. Is that why family history of mental illness is important? Absolutely. Yes, that family history is like really important. Yep. Whoa. Yes. Got them all right. Even my crazy questions. Look at that. Good job. I'm telling you, I would become a writer of this test if I wouldn't send you all the questions. That's why I can't ethically write any questions for this exam because I prepare y'all for it. So it's not ethical, but I would really like to write questions. I thought I did a good job. What y'all think? I don't know. Okay. Let me see. Why should I do it on the exam? We're working on it. Some people, we working on it. We working on that second guessing. Is that what we're talking about? I know we are. Yes. That changing of answers. We're working on it. Keep working on it. 8 out of 10. Even if you know my motto, even if you got a 2 out of 10, as long as you say and know how to fix it. Yes, I will make sure everyone has all of the handouts. Good job. You guys did really good. I think I got more than half right. Good. And guess what? You have even more to go. So you don't have this PowerPoint yet because I didn't want you to cheat because I know how y'all are and y'all probably do all the questions before the session. So you have some more questions. You have homework questions. Yeah. You have 15 questions and I have some more questions on here where I made up some Well, all of them are made up necessarily. Some of them are, you know, some of me, some borrowed, but I made up original questions too. I'm so excited about that. So take the questions, see how you did. Got so many wrong. It's okay if this is a weaker area. The hope is that you don't have that many. I know that sounds really bad and you should be so prepared for everything. But hey, sometimes if it's not sticking, sometimes it causes more anxiety when it doesn't stick. And then you get really anxious. And then you, that messes up the rest of the 168 questions. So don't mess up your 168 questions with these 2, 3 diagnosis and medication questions that you're going to have. Okay. Because it shouldn't be that many. You still should know what depression is. You still should know what bipolar, because you're going to see them, just in any question, like a practice question. But I don't want you to get so down on medications and diagnosis that it throws you off from everything else. How can we put out the homework? So I am going to send you everything tomorrow before noon. You will receive the recordings, the audio and video. You'll receive the transcript. You'll receive all handouts and the additional handouts like the DSM-5, the cheat sheet. I'm going to send you the book that we talked about. I have a medication sheet. I'm going to send you some information about the difference between delirium and mild neurocognitive disorder, because I have a handout on that. So I'll send you all of that tomorrow. Okay, we ended a little early, so I'll open it up. You can come off of mute in a very organized fashion, of course.